Have you ever noticed how everyone's an expert on parenting? One side says spank them. The other side tells you to never raise your voice. And somewhere in between the belt and the feelings chart, a generation of parents got lost. Everybody always argues what discipline should look like, but nobody ever asks or tells you what it's actually for. And lately I'm starting to think maybe obedience for obedience sake was never the goal. Maybe the whole idea is training for a purpose. Because real discipline doesn't just correct bad behavior. If used properly, it cultivates character. See, I used to think being a good dad meant having control of everything, making sure my boys listened the first time, every time. But then I read, "The Lord disciplines those he loves." And I realized, love doesn't yell to be heard. It shows up to be followed. So maybe discipline starts with me. Come on, I'll explain some more. Everywhere you look, everyone's got a method. Books, podcasts, 10-step plans. Half of them contradict each other, and the other half are probably single. But the truth is, most of us are just figuring it out in real time. Discipline's not something that you just become a master of in a parenting class. It's something that you model every single day. And that's why it's so hard. Because before I can teach my kids how to stay calm, respectful, and resilient, I've got to show them what it looks like when it's cold, uncomfortable, and every part of me wants to quit. So yeah, I guess this is one way to practice. The longer I sit here, the more I realize discipline isn't a reaction. It's a rhythm. You don't wait until your kid messes up to teach it. You live it in front of them every single day. And I started thinking about it the other day. Why is discipline so hard to get right? Why does it feel like no matter what we do, it's either too soft or too harsh? And then it hit me. Maybe it's not our methods that are broken. Maybe it's just our definition. So I ended up going down a rabbit hole, trying to understand more of what the word actually means. It turns out the word discipline comes from the Latin word disciplina. It doesn't actually mean punishment. It actually means instruction, knowledge, and training. It's the same root word we get disciple from. And after I realized that, it stopped me cold because we've built an entire system of parenting, education, and even faith on the wrong definition. Discipline was never about control. It was about teaching someone to follow your example. And that's when it clicked for me in my head. Everybody in my house is learning discipline from somebody. My kids, my wife, my Marines, my friends, they're all picking up lessons from how I respond under pressure. So every time I snap out of anger or lose my cool, I'm not teaching obedience. I'm just teaching how to respond to discomfort. The truth is, my discipline becomes their blueprint. And after I learned as much as I could about the word, I went back and read Proverbs 3, verse 12. For the Lord disciplines those he loves. As a father, the son he delights in. And that one hit a little differently. God's discipline isn't about power. It's about protection. Love that corrects, not control that crushes. And look, I'm no philosopher. Just a dad trying to figure it all out. But before I go lecturing my boys on discipline, maybe I should remember I'm the first test subject, and I better know how to do it. Because if discipline really means teaching, then every meltdown, every moment of patience, every time I show up here, that's a chance for me to teach them. So this week, I told you I went down the rabbit hole. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain more what that looked like. And hey, if this one hit, share it with a dad who's been trying to get it right too. But with that though, day 280 down. Remember, be kind, be great, dial it in, and most importantly, keep on sending it. Listen, do you know the Latin word disciplina was first used by Roman soldiers to describe their training, not their punishment? That means even 2,000 years ago, discipline wasn't about pain. It was all about preparation. All right. This ice bath is freezing this morning, and I've got adult things to go do. So until tomorrow, it's Crunch Butt Chips time.